Be extremely careful about what your kids watch on YouTube. My kids watch a lot of YouTube. I'm not afraid to admit it. Sometimes I need a break. Sometimes I need to cook dinner. Sometimes I want to hide in the closet for 15 minutes and cry my eyes out. But after the horrifying things that just happened to my family, I don't think I'll ever leave them alone again. Anyway, a few days ago I put my kids on YouTube and walked away for a bit. I don't want to name specific names, but let's just say it's a very popular channel that follows the lives of several 3D animated toddlers and their families. Let's call it Bobo Pumpkin. But anyone who has kids knows exactly what channel I'm talking about. Anyway, I put the TV on and walked away. I just never could have imagined that this would soon turn into my worst nightmare. As I prepared dinner, however, I heard some strange audio coming from the TV. It sounded like the Wheels on the Bus song, the specific version from Bobo Pumpkin I'd heard dozens of times, except weirdly distorted, like it was being played back at half speed. The wheels on the bus go round and round, and then yeah, I'm never doing that again. They don't pay me enough to read stuff like that. Anyways, back to the story. I left a half-chopped onion on the counter and walked into the living room. But when I saw the TV, I was shocked. Some cheap rip-off channel with a name in a language I didn't recognize had stolen the audio and video for the classic Bobo Pumpkin Wheels on the Bus song. Except, presumably to avoid getting caught, they'd changed it up. They changed the audio to half speed or similar, making the voices low and distorted, almost demonic. They'd messed with the video multiple ways, turned it upside down, switched up the colors. The bus was pink, the kid's skin was cayenne blue, made two mirror images of it that intersected in the middle. These changes didn't happen all at once, but sequentially. A few seconds of upside down, then a few seconds of weird colors. When I finally got over my shock, I immediately grabbed the remote and flipped it off. The kids didn't seem to care one way or the other, but I was thoroughly creeped out. I knew something about this was deeply wrong. A few days passed. I kept a closer eye on the kids while they watched YouTube, but the video didn't come up again. I assumed that was the end of it. I was wrong. On Tuesday, after putting dinner on the table, I called to the kids. "Johnny, Amelia," I called. "Dinner's ready." No response. Ugh, these kids never listen to me. "Johnny, Amelia, where are you?" Silence. I charged up the stairs, ready to yell at them for not replying to me. But when I poked my head into Johnny's bedroom, he wasn't there. Amelia wasn't in her bedroom either. My heart began to pound. "Johnny? Amelia?" But then I heard it. The horn on the bus goes beep, beep, beep. That distorted, half-speed audio from the video, coming from my bedroom. I burst into my room, and sure enough, I found them both sitting on my bed, watching that cursed video on my TV. "Johnny! Amelia!" They didn't move. They just stared at the screen, eyes glassy, bright colors flashing over their faces, almost like they were hypnotized. I grabbed the remote and turned the TV off. They slowly turned towards me, sleepy almost, like they were just waking up. "Didn't you guys hear me?" I asked. Amelia shook her head. Johnny just stared. "Come on, dinner's ready." But as we sat down to eat, a horrible feeling grew in the pit of my stomach. That night after the kids went to sleep, I uninstalled the YouTube app from both TVs. There was plenty to watch on Disney Plus, and there was even that new Bobo Pumpkin show on Netflix. They'd have to just live without it for a while. After cleaning up downstairs and locking up, I took a bath. I sunk into the warm water, taking deep breaths, entering relaxation mode. But only 10 minutes later, I heard something coming from the other side of the door. Music. I strained my ears, listening. It was muffled enough that I couldn't make out the singing, but from the pitch, I knew exactly what it was. I got out of the tub, wrapped a towel around myself, burst into the bedroom. The horn on the bus goes beep, beep, beep. I ran over to my phone, charging on the nightstand. Sure enough, it had YouTube open and was playing the video. I stared in horror as the blue-skinned bus driver slapped his hand on the horn. Beep, beep, beep. I grabbed the phone and turned it off. It must have went off by accident. Emerald must have tapped the phone, and they've been watching that video so much it was probably right on my feed. Our cat Emerald wasn't in my room now, but the door was ajar. She could have gotten in, played with my phone, and accidentally opened YouTube. Right? It was really unlikely, but I told myself those lies anyway. I couldn't go down that path, spiral into fear. I'd done it too many times as a single mom. I was not going to lose my temper over some Bobo Pumpkin video of all things. I dried off, got into my pajamas, and checked the kids. Then I turned off my phone, put on airplane mode so it didn't even have internet access, and went to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night. I grabbed my phone off the nightstand and glanced at the time. 3:17 a.m. I got up and used the bathroom. Then I decided to take a quick look at the kids. I'd check on them sometimes just to make sure everything was okay. As soon as I got into the hallway, though, I saw something was horribly wrong. Both of their doors were open. My heart began to pound. "Johnny? Amelia?" I ran to their rooms. Their beds were empty. "Oh no. No, no, no." I ran down the stairs. "Johnny! Amelia!" I screamed. They didn't answer me, but I also didn't see any evidence of a break-in, a kidnapping, anything. "Where are you?" As I made it to the foyer, I froze. The basement door was ajar, and in the darkness, on the walls of the stairwell, I could see flickering blue light. What the hell? Our basement wasn't finished, but we did have a few things down there. An old sofa, some boxes of toys, an old TV with an N64 and Super Nintendo that we sometimes played. Johnny and Amelia liked to play down there. Maybe they got up in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep, and went down there to play. I opened the door and stepped down onto the first step. The wood creaked underneath me. "Johnny? Amelia?" I called. Nothing. My heart pounded. I felt weak, sick. I charged down the stairs, my hand slipping over the banister. Halfway down, I heard it. "The daddies on the bus go, I love you." That distorted half-speed audio from the video. I ran down the stairs. Johnny and Amelia were sitting there, on the cold floor. in front of the old TV. It was playing the video. What the heck? The TV down here was only connected to cable. It had no way of connecting to the internet. No way of getting to YouTube. Johnny, Amelia. They didn't move. I watched in horror as the upside-down daddy gave his son a hug. And then the video flipped back up and their skin turned bluish-green. "I love you," said the warped, distorted audio. Static rippled across the image. Johnny and Amelia stared at the TV, barely moving. The bright colors reflecting in their eyes, their mouths hanging open, hypnotized. I ran over to the plug and yanked it out of the outlet. The TV flickered off with a staticky whoomp sound. They slowly turned towards me. "You're not supposed to be down here, it's the middle of the night," I shouted. "Sorry, Mommy," Amelia said. "Why? Why do you want to watch this stupid video?" They didn't say anything. "How did you even get it to play on here?" Amelia got up, then Johnny. Without a word, the two of them started up the stairs. I flicked off the lights and ran up after them. I put them back to bed. Then I went back to my bedroom and tried to fall back asleep, but I couldn't. There must be some sort of hidden message in the video, some sort of weird covert hypnosis, something to make the kids keep replaying it. I'd read articles that the actual Bobo Pumpkin channel itself was addictive and overstimulating, with its earworm songs and bright colors. Maybe this corrupted version was like that, but on overdrive. Or maybe it was some hidden whispering or images that imprinted on the viewer's subconscious. I grabbed my phone, opened YouTube, and played the video. I studied it, staring at the grainy compression artifacts, the switched colors, the smiling 3D family with their oversized heads and perfect smiles. But there didn't seem to be any sort of horrible images or audio added. The song had been slowed down and the video had been edited to be upside down. Color swapped, all kinds of things like that. But nothing stuck out as sinister. After 5 watches, I turned the phone off and went to sleep. I hoped that would be the end of it. I was wrong. In the morning, while the kids were still sleeping, I unplugged all the TVs. I crept down the hall past their closed doors and headed downstairs, completely disconnecting the TV in the living room, and then the basement. They couldn't watch that stupid video anymore, but unfortunately the damage had already been done. I heated up their breakfast and called for them. "Johnny, Amelia!" They didn't come downstairs. Calling them down from bed only worked about half the time under normal circumstances, and they were probably super tired this morning. I started up the stairs to wake them up for school, but when I opened their doors, my heart dropped through the floor. Amelia was lying there in bed, but she wasn't asleep. Her eyes were open. She was staring straight up at the ceiling, her pupils jittering back and forth, as if she were watching something. "Amelia!" I screamed. I grabbed her shoulders, gently shook her. "Amelia!" Nothing. When I burst into Johnny's room, it was the same thing. He was lying there on his side with his eyes open, staring straight at the wall, his pupils moving slightly back and forth as if he were watching something projected on the blank wall.